Hey guys, Tiago with Classical Controllers here, where we talk about controllers, and that's pretty much it. So I bought about like 10 broken or for parts PlayStation 4 controllers. As you can see, some of them came in various states. Oh, it finally got me, the one with all the bugs in it, and they just went flying everywhere. Oh my god, this one is garbage. Obviously the biggest thing is like cleaning a lot of them. A lot of them have like stick drift. Some of them like buttons weren't working. I'm going to see how many of them I can actually get working. And remember, PlayStation 4 may be old, but have you ever walked into like a Walmart or a Target? They actually sell PlayStation 4 controllers brand new. In fact, I walked into a Target the other day and I bought a PlayStation 4 controller. I even have the box here. That's like a brand new in the box. Well, I opened it because, of course, the feeling of a brand new controller, it just feels so good. Everything's like, you know what I mean if you've opened a brand new controller. But anyway, PlayStation 4 controllers are still very popular and there's millions of them. So it's a good thing to fix. I mean, in my opinion, there's one of the best controllers like ever. Ergonomically, they just fit in your hand. Make believe there's a controller here and not like a ghost controller, if you will. They ergonomically fit so well. Like the buttons are good, the layout is good. Obviously, they're not as technically advanced as the newer PlayStation 5 DualSense. That's an incredible controller in its own right, but they're also much more expensive. So if you want to play around, learn how to solder, these are going to be the controllers to go for. So for the first one, it actually had really bad stick drift. It was going all over the place. Aside from being like super dirty and sticky, I don't know what people do when they're playing games. They're drinking soda and spilling it on the controller. They're eating Cheetos because there's so much just like gamer cheese all over the controller, like on the side. So you definitely want a nice little cleaning kit. I have little Q-tips to clean it. I even have isopropyl alcohol. Sometimes it's not enough. I've even just turned the shower on and thrown one of these bad boys under just to get that gunk out. So that's something that's part of like the repair and like the cleaning process for sure. First one had like really bad stick drift. All of the buttons worked, but that's probably why people get rid of it for cheap. So I actually went ahead and changed the thumbsticks. I'm not just going to put any stock thumbsticks because I like to mod the controller to its fullest potential. I put the TMR sticks. This is going to be the Hall Pie TMR sticks. These are basically the same as the Gully Kit TMR, which like are the best on the market. They're made in the same factory, but they're just cheaper. So that's why I like to get them. You can see in the back here, I soldered it. So came out really, really nice. Very low error rate. Snaps right to the middle. Just a fantastic upgrade. And then at least for this first controller, immediately fixed it. Now, the other thing I like doing is just the cosmetics. You know, obviously, if I can reuse the original case, I'll do that. But in this case here, it's pretty scratched up and beat up. So if I'm going to make a controller with like mouse click triggers and buttons on the back, maybe I'm going to use a new case. I'm actually prepping it right now. I got this nice purple shell with some nice white custom buttons. It's going to look really good. So that's going to be one of the biggest things when you buy a broken controller. Often it's really just stick drift. I found that a lot of times you can just clean it. You open it up, you see the controller here, and then you have the potentiometers on the side. You can open this up, use some isopropyl alcohol or BW100 is another really good product that you can spray in here. It evaporates very quickly, so you don't have to worry about damaging your controller. So a lot of times it's like dog hair or something like that, or it's just dirty. You wiggle it around, and you'd be surprised how you can fix stick drift in many, many cases. And then you throw it on the DualShock calibration website, and you can often get it working pretty good. I mean, some stick drift, like this controller was really bad. It was moving to the side and very jittery. So sometimes there's just something that's not worth it. And I enjoy doing these sticks anyway. I learned how to actually do the thumbsticks. If you guys want to see a video on actually replacing the thumbsticks, let me know. I didn't even know how to solder a few months ago. I learned the hard way, and I found some really fast steps where like I can actually do these in probably, if there are no problems, like under half an hour. Usually using optimized tools obviously and a really good workflow, but it took a while. The first one I ever did Took me like 3 hours. I was hacking away at the controller. My soldering iron touched the battery thing and broke that. So then it was a pretty big disaster. But after some experience, finding the right tools, there's a special tool you can use where the thumbsticks come out in like a few seconds. You can do it much, much faster. So, stick drift is going to be one of the biggest things you find if you buy a used controller. It's a good skill to have because any controller could be an absolute pro controller if you know how to fix it. Like, this controller was garbage to some people, but now with like one of the best TMR sticks on the market, and after I put custom buttons, it's going to look brand new and gorgeous for like a minimal amount of money. Like you can buy, 10 of these for a decent price if you, depending where you order from. They even have some. You get like 20, Hall effects or TMR sticks for something like 35 bucks or something like that. If you get them from AliExpress, so you can definitely turn it into a nice pro controller. Then you put little mouse clicks and things like that. So stick drift is going to be the biggest things I found with some of these controllers. The second biggest thing is going to be when buttons just don't work. Maybe the stick drift isn't that bad, but this is what I found. A lot of times you'll have like maybe the D-pad, like down and up or something, aren't working, or down and left, maybe the bumper. So even without replacing the part, you open the controller up and you clean the face of it. Often it's just build up gunk. Like I said, people like eating and gaming with their controller. If you like doing that, write it down in the comments there so we can shame you a little bit. Because I washed my hands before playing with controllers. Definitely, especially if I've just eaten. But it's okay. If you like eating and dropping soda in your controller, that's fine too, because it gives me something fun to do. It's fun to clean it and to get it back to new. So if you use some isopropyl alcohol and clean the ribbon cable, and this will be true of any controller, not just PlayStation 4. I like learning on these just because they're cheaper and easier to find, but most of it is applicable to a PlayStation 5 or even the Xbox. The Xbox has other little challenges that are different. But like PlayStation 5, if you want to do the Hall effects or TMR, it's almost the same process, pretty much. It's just a different process of removing it. And there's different ribbon cables in there, so it's a little more complex. But the second biggest thing is going to be buttons not working. So if you clean this little strip here, often you'll find that the buttons work. If it's not physically damaged or anything like that, open up like an old shell like this. You can see that sometimes there'll be gunk in there and the button will be physically stuck. Obviously, it didn't break. Somebody dropped probably soda or something sticky in there. So you can find these little pieces for cheap online and just replace it with a new one. And the same thing with these ribbon cables. You can find these for like a few dollars. So even if yours just doesn't work, you can order a new one and have a perfectly working controller sometimes for like 2 or 3 bucks. Even like on Amazon, you can get like probably three of these for $8 or $9. And obviously, if you go to other sources like AliExpress, they're even cheaper. So that's going to be the second biggest thing. The first one is stick drift that I ran into. The second one is going to be just buttons not working. That's when you can, clean this ribbon or maybe replace it with something else. And since on PlayStation 4 controllers, the face buttons are connected to and I can show you right now, you can see it goes to the bumper and the trigger. And they have their own little cushion pad up there. But basically, if you fix the pad, especially where it makes contact, if you pull like so, if you pull that out and you look, the ribbon cable makes contact right here. There are two pins, and always make sure they're in right, because when you put this top piece with the thumbsticks, the motherboard, if this piece isn't in there, it's easy to damage it somehow when you push it down. So make sure it's in the right place, especially if you put a little mod chip or a little mod ribbon cable or something like an extreme rate kit or something like that. That's definitely something you should watch out for. But then just cleaning it, you may fix the triggers and the bumper. And then obviously you sometimes may have actual physical damage where a button or a plastic piece may have broken off. Sometimes if you're a little bit ingenious and creative, you can actually, maybe super glue something or fix a part, or they even sell these frames you can buy and you just reuse the motherboard. Once again, being able to solder is, a big skill to have. And I didn't know how to do it at all until a few months ago. And if I had ripped one of these little, for the Rumble cables, when I would rip these, it'd be like game over because I didn't know how to solder it back. That's why I learned. And then you eventually up your skills almost like a game, and you learn how to do the thumbsticks and more complicated things. And then you can do stuff like this. You can get a controller and bring it back from the dead and make it even better. You can turn it into a scuff or into like a battle beaver like controller. It takes a lot of time, of course, to learn, but it's very satisfying. So those are going to be the two main things that you'll find wrong often with these controllers. Obviously, probably the third one is just going to be either broken buttons or just a lot of gunk in there. So you're going to have to clean a lot of these. Sometimes you get one in nice condition, but sometimes you need to clean it. Sometimes the cases are just in really bad shape. So it may be cheaper just to go and pick up a little replacement case where you'll just make the controller appear much better. Even if the other case isn't in bad condition, you can do the aesthetics. You can buy some buttons. They have these on Amazon and different sources like that. And if you're just doing a few controllers, it's good. If you're going to do a lot of controllers, if you have a lot, like I like to do these a lot, you can find them on AliExpress or something like that. So overall, those are the three main things to watch out for if you want to kind of just take an old controller, even if you're not buying it from somebody or getting it. If you have an old controller that you want to just for fun refurbish and make it even nicer with like TMR sticks, these are absolutely amazing. That's certainly something that you can do, but remember to have your cleaning supplies out. Controllers are something that people use and they eat and they use it. So you might have to spend a lot of that time actually cleaning. And don't be afraid to break stuff. It's going to happen. Like I broke a lot of controllers, like trying different things. And then what I would recommend if you do break a controller, like just save it, put it aside because as your skills level up, you can go back to it and something you couldn't do before, you can do now. Like when I started kind of modding and working and building controllers, I would rip these cables out, like I mentioned, the rumble cables, and I didn't know how to do it. I would have to have somebody else do it. So some of them I put aside, and now that I can easily do it, it takes me 2 seconds. I can go back to those controllers and fix them. Even stuff like ripping connectors of like the battery or something, or if something's broken, as you level up, you can go back and actually refix it. And this is going to be applicable not just to a PlayStation 4 controller. You can apply those same skills to any controller or even other electronics as well. So it's definitely a lot of fun as a hobby, pretty much. And that's why some of these companies charge a lot of money for a custom controller, like Scuff and Battle Beaver. They do a phenomenal job in most cases, but it's a skill that most people don't have because opening a controller up can be pretty scary because you have to pull panels, everything's small. I like building computers, and the smaller the computer gets, the harder it is to work on, like mini ITX and small form factor. If it's a big computer, a big case, it's actually easier. Even though it's big to move around, you have space for your hands to move. You can position any type of hardware. In a controller, if you close it in a certain way, your touchpad, for example, may not work. It may get stuck because there may be an extra wire in there. You closed it wrong, and the tolerances are so tight that you may have those issues. So those are the things that I ran into, and I'm working through these controllers now. But I've been able to fix a bunch of them. Some of them just by cleaning, and I like changing the sticks to TMR or Hall effects, and I like changing the aesthetics. And even the face buttons, I'll use the extreme rate clicks. I even learned how to do the Omron switches for the face buttons. And you have to 3D print custom buttons, pretty much like companies like Battle Beaver do, and companies like that. It's extremely satisfying just to do as a hobby. You don't have to go and resell them or whatever. You can do that, but it's fun just as a hobby. So that's been my experience buying basically broken controllers, cleaning them up, changing not only what needs to be changed, even if the thumbsticks are good, I'll do an upgrade. It's so cheap now to get Hall effects. You can get them for like $1 or $2, sometimes for a pair. All you need is a couple of cheap soldering tools and a lot of patience, and you can upgrade your controller to feel like one of the best in the market because the PlayStation 4 controller is already phenomenal and it works on PC. Even if you're not playing PlayStation 4, I use these bad boys on PC. And it feels really good. I'm not missing anything at all. And obviously, I'll play with the other controllers, PlayStation 5. I'm going through my PlayStation 4 phase now, or I should say, I'm on purpose focusing on working on PlayStation 4 controllers just so I can like level up my own ability. If I keep switching to Xbox and PlayStation 5 like I've done before, when I'm in terms of modding them, then maybe your progress goes a little slower. I want to master this one first, and then we'll go on to the PlayStation 5 one that has a few more complicated things. So that's been my experience. Let me know if you've ever fixed your own controller. If you would, if it's something you're scared of opening, if you would buy some broken controllers and try to like fix them up. Remember to subscribe if you like stuff like this, and I'll see you guys on the next video.